I used to believe that love was something you could put on a shelf, like a favorite book. Life gets busy, routines take over, and you tell yourself, we'll get back to it soon. But pages gather dust, and before you know it, you're living beside a stranger who still knows how you take your coffee, but not how you feel when you're quietly breaking inside. My name is Elise. I was 42 when it happened. We had been married for 18 years. 2 kids, a mortgage, a dog we rescued on our 10th anniversary. Daniel was my best friend. He still kissed me on the forehead every morning, still called me darling even after a fight. And yet, I cheated on him. Not because he was cruel, not because he didn't love me, but because I didn't know who I was anymore. It started slow, like frost creeping into a window pane. The silences at dinner got longer, the laughter between us less frequent. When I cried in the shower, he never asked why, and I never offered an answer. At first, I thought it was just the years piling on. This is marriage, I told myself. This is what commitment becomes. You survive together, you parent together, you share bills, and eventually you forget how to be lovers. But then I met Aaron. I wasn't looking for anything. Not love, not attention, certainly not an affair. Aaron was a project manager working with a client at my firm. He was younger, not by much, but there was something in the way he looked at me that felt dangerous, not in a threatening way, but in a you still exist kind of way. The first time we spoke, it was about budget timelines. The second, he complimented my earrings. By the third, we were laughing too long at something not even that funny. It wasn't physical yet, but it was emotional, and I knew it. God, I knew it. Every time I saw his name pop up in my inbox, my heart skipped. Every time he stood too close, I didn't move away. I didn't tell Daniel about him. That was the first lie, the beginning of the end. The first time I deleted a message from Aaron, my hands trembled. It wasn't even scandalous, just a joke about how boring our Monday meeting was. But I knew it crossed a line. If Daniel had read it, he would have asked, "Who's Aaron?" And I didn't want to answer that question. Not yet. Lying became easy. I'm staying late at the office. I'm grabbing dinner with a coworker. I'm exhausted, not in the mood. Each excuse another brick in the wall I was building between me and the man who had once held my hand through childbirth. And Aaron, he kept showing up with little compliments, inside jokes, a touch on the small of my back. Then one night, after drinks following a client pitch, he said something that shattered me. "I don't think he sees you." I didn't answer. I couldn't. But that night, I didn't go home. I remember standing outside his apartment door, heart pounding, asking myself if I was really going to do this, if I was really going to become her. And then I knocked. It was not passionate. Not the first time. It was guilt-ridden, silent, trembling. I cried after. Aaron held me and whispered things like, "You deserve to feel alive, and you're not doing anything wrong, Elise. You're just chasing happiness." But I was doing something wrong, and I knew it every time I looked Daniel in the eyes and told him I loved him. Because I still did. In some strange, broken, and aching way, I still loved the man I was betraying. For weeks, I lived a double life. Waking up next to Daniel, packing lunch for our kids, texting Aaron under the dinner table. Aaron wanted more. He wanted me to leave. Daniel, he was still clueless. Sweet. Still making my tea without asking. still rubbing my shoulders at night. It was killing me. Then, one Sunday morning, Daniel came into the kitchen holding my phone. His face was pale, his voice quiet. "Who's Aaron?" The world slowed. My stomach dropped. He had seen the messages. All of them. Daniel didn't scream. He didn't throw anything. He just stood there, holding the phone like it was a grenade, like it might go off if he gripped it too tightly. "How long?" His voice cracked, and for the first time in my life, I couldn't find any words. I tried to speak. It wasn't like, "Don't lie, please." His eyes were bloodshot. I think he hadn't blinked in a while. I whispered, "A few months." Daniel closed his eyes and let out the slowest, most soul-crushing exhale I've ever heard. He sat down at the kitchen table, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor like it might swallow him whole. The silence was unbearable, so I said the worst possible thing. It didn't mean anything. He looked up, just looked, not with anger, not with hatred, but with something far more devastating. Disappointment. A man who'd bet everything on someone and lost. That night, he slept in the guest room. And in the mornings that followed, he stopped making tea. He changed. Not immediately, not dramatically, but slowly, like winter creeping in through a cracked window. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse. But the warmth was gone. Our conversations became logistics. Schedules. Who's picking up the kids? Who's paying the gas bill? Aaron kept calling, texting, but I couldn't even look at my phone anymore. One afternoon, I came home and found Daniel in the garage, sawing wood. It was a hobby he used to love, before work, and kids and life buried it. He looked up at me, sweat on his brow, sawdust in his hair, and said something that broke me. "It feels good to build something with my own hands again." He wasn't talking about wood. He was talking about a new life. And I realized he wasn't going to forgive me. He wasn't going to fight for me. He was done. I stayed, at least physically. I walked around the house like a ghost. I made dinner for two, but ate alone. I left the lights on in rooms I wasn't in, maybe hoping their glow would trick me into believing I wasn't completely alone. Daniel moved quieter now. He stopped humming while he shaved. He stopped pausing to kiss my forehead in passing. His eyes didn't meet mine anymore. He was grieving, not for a person, but for a version of us that died. "Do you hate me?" I asked one night, standing in the hallway between our rooms. He didn't look up from his suitcase. "No," he said. "I just don't recognize you anymore." That hurt more than hatred ever could. A few weeks later, Daniel started going out more. Dinners, gym, work events. He dressed differently, sharper, more confident, like someone learning how to breathe again after nearly drowning. I saw glimpses of the man I fell in love with, but stronger, more independent, more alive. I wanted to be happy for him. I wanted to tell him he deserved this. But the truth? I was jealous. Jealous of the way he carried himself now. Jealous that he found peace, while I still sat up at 2 a.m. scrolling through old texts and photos, looking for proof that he once loved me. Then one day, our daughter, Emily, walked into the kitchen and asked, "Mom, is Dad seeing someone?" I dropped the mug I was holding. She looked down at the pieces. I looked at her, and we both knew something had shifted permanently. I invited him to coffee, not as a wife, not even as a friend, just as someone who needed to say goodbye properly. He hesitated, but he came. We sat across from each other at a small cafe where we used to go when we were broke, but in love. He ordered black coffee. I didn't order anything. Why did you really do it? He asked. His voice wasn't angry, just tired. I looked down at my hands. Because I felt invisible. Because I wanted to feel wanted. Because I was selfish and stupid and didn't think I'd lose you. He nodded slowly. You did lose me, Elise, he said gently. But I think I lost you first, a long time ago. There was silence, not awkward, just final. I'm sorry, I whispered. He smiled, soft, sad, distant. I know. And that was it. Months passed. I saw him once with someone new. She was pretty in a soft, warm way. He looked at her the way he used to look at me when we were young and stupid and full of plans. And I realized something. I didn't just lose my husband. I lost the only version of me that I ever liked. The version I was when I was with him. The house is quiet now. The photos are gone. The only thing left is the echo of what we used to be. And every night I lie in bed and stare at the ceiling thinking, I cheated on my husband after 18 years. Now I'm watching him build a new life. Without me.